It's just that God is the same in those things as he is in the smaller things. So anything that you're going through, anything that's requiring patience, anything that is causing your spirit to be troubled, God cares.
All right, coming in hot, a new week. That means a new episode here on Not Quite There. Some people call it NQT.
NQT. Welcome to NQT.
It's a very official Chris Howard voice right there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Chris.
Welcome back, Mike.
Good to see you back here in the studio. See your face.
Great to be seen.
In person. It's good to record in person versus like a Zoom.
I like
right?
it. I like
it's
it.
better.
Yeah.
We're
See
in
each other.
person. We're having coffee.
We are.
No?
No.
You're wearing comfy shorts.
Yeah. How about, what are these shorts that you're wearing there? Are they kind of like,
we're just going to keep looking at each other in our shorts when we start episodes. Golf.
It is summer.
They're like a golf pair of shorts that someone told me about. But they're the most comfortable shorts I've ever had.
From Course to Cast?
I don't know what brand. I don't know anything about golf. Sorry. Confession. I'm not a big golfer. Do you golf a lot?
Are you saying golf?
Golf. Stop.
I think there's a no. There's got to be a no. For some reason, maybe it's my headphones.
Do you say?
Maybe I'm hearing.
No, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this.
I'm hearing golf.
It's playing golf. That's what people say.
Golf.
How do you say playing golf?
Golf.
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 Yeah, it's fine. I'm saying it. A pair of shorts. They're comfortable. Let's move on from the shorts. I did have a question for you.
Yes.
I wrote down two things, actually.
Okay.
You did not know this ahead of time. Here we go. Do you say coupon or coupon?
Coupon.
Okay, thank you. We're on the same page there.
Good.
Also, what do you think about people who have full conversations on speakerphone in the middle of a crowded coffee shop?
I think I want to go to a different coffee
The
shop.
full speakerphone experience. It's terrible.
It really is.
How good is that conversation going? The other person listening to all the sound, there's no way it's effective.
Self-awareness is really low there, too.
I genuinely, this sounds like an old guy complaining now. I don't understand. Like this happened the other day at Starbucks.
What did you do?
I just sat there and just kept going, just kind of pushed through it.
And,
but the whole time I'm not understanding how this conversation's happening.
What do you think's happening on the other end? Do you think they're liking that?
There's no way.
No.
It can't be an enjoyable experience.
I don't think so.
Right?
No, it can't be.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, Mike, it's just,
So you don't do it?
No.
You don't do it? Something else that's not enjoyable is sometimes making apologies.
And who do we apologize to this week?
I feel like each week we have something or someone new to apologize to. What you told me before the show started sounds like we got to apologize to a company.
Yeah, I found out that there are still over 562 active working Winn-Dixie locations.
562, and we thought they were out of business.
But Winn-Dixie does exist.
Are they in Texas?
I think so. I didn't really follow them on the map, but I believe around Texas, you might find a Piggly. I said a Piggly Wiggly. Hey, a Winn-Dixie, and maybe a Piggly Wiggly.
We apologize, Winn-Dixie, officially.
Yes, sorry.
Our many, many apologies. Do we have any other apologies?
I think we might have cast too broad of a paintbrush over the people of Boston.
Boston, you say?
Yes, even that, they might be getting mad.
I'm sorry.
Maybe the accent's dying down. Maybe there's enough people that have moved up there. I know some Texans live in there. They're not talking like that. It's but sorry, Boston. We were just a little bit hurt because of what you did to our
So 562 locations of a grocery store, and also basically the entire East Coast we're apologizing to.
Yes, and then we're gonna have to make apologies every now and then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it.
So what's been going on? Have you been watching these major soccer tournaments? You have the Euro, and then you have Copa America taking place. Have you been following that?
Well, I believe by soccer you mean football.
Football, yeah.
I just want to make sure you're calling it the correct. No, I'm really not going to be helping golf fans or soccer fans here today. I don't really follow soccer. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
have you been watching all of those?
I have a slight interest in it.
No,
every now and then. But
I've been to like an FC Dallas and an FC Austin game. Does that count?
You've seen soccer and football. You've seen
Seen it.
football,
It's
soccer.
like going to Chili's. I've had food.
You've been,
So
yeah.
I've been to a soccer
You've
match.
seen sport.
It's a match.
It's a match.
Yeah.
Soccer match.
On the pitch.
On the pitch.
Yes. See,
Yeah.
I know soccer. Oh, Ted Lasso.
No,
I like Ted Lasso. I've been watching Ted Lasso. Basically,
Okay,
I
so
know soccer.
you're doing your part for the
Yeah,
soccer
yeah,
community.
I got it. It's the pitch and, the pitch and the pitch.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering why is it not as popular as it could be
In America?
here in the country that just seems to get behind sports and throw a lot of money toward it.
Good
and
question.
A lot of attention. So what is it?
So why do Americans think soccer's lame, basically?
Yeah.
I think we have to collectively because it's not popular. I don't know. There's a lot of running around. I mean, you're kicking a ball.
What would make it better?
Let's see. Probably not like a halftime show. Probably don't need that. No. I mean, game's kind of long. Maybe you make it, like the pitch count in baseball. Maybe they gotta
They have to kick the ball
kick or get past a certain
that's,
line on the field in a certain amount of time, or they're, I guess, even more offsides.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I actually like
Oh,
that
thank
better
you.
than my idea.
What was your idea?
Maybe like 5 minutes of they get to use their hands. Just
Like 5 minutes, you can do whatever you want with the ball. I like that.
Like, it becomes handball.
You know what? Okay, I love the 5 minute idea. You can do anything you want with the ball.
5 minutes.
Also, you don't know when the 5 minutes is going to start.
No.
It could be any time during the match. The
Ref's
refs decide at
discretion.
random. Once they blow the different type of whistle, it's like 5 minutes. Here we go, and just that would actually be really entertaining.
I think so.
Because then I would tune in because you never know what's going to happen.
I think the people would love it.
If you were in the crowd, do you know what you're doing in those 5 minutes? I mean, you're going insane.
I'm thinking I can't wait until 5 minute hand time. I can't wait till hand time.
It's not just hand time though. It's not just five. It's like you can
whatever. Yeah.
grab it, run with it. You could travel with the ball. Traveling's the wrong sport.
Create a rugby scrum. You can.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I would be interested in that 5 minutes.
That would be.
I'm not gonna lie.
They'd probably have to rename the sport though.
Soccer.
Ultimate soccer.
That was one of the worst uses of dead time we've ever had.
That was terrible. But you know what?
Okay.
Maybe it's maybe it has to do with the subject that we're going to talk about
Good
today.
segue, my friend. You are professional.
Well, the problem is you're waiting for somebody to score a goal, and sometimes they don't score a goal.
That's
Sometimes it is
90 minutes of waiting.
Nil.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no shootout unless it's a game where somebody has to win in advance to the next. But yeah, it could just be a real bummer that you see no scoring and you're waiting.
You're kind of putting me to sleep talking about all this soccer.
Yeah.
Sounds really
Crickets.
like an enjoyable 90 minutes.
It's a wonderful time, right?
Yeah. Let's go watch some soccer.
But all that to say, waiting is, as a famous philosopher said, the hardest part, right?
Little Tom Petty drop.
And so, what do you remember a time in your life where you just had to wait for a result or wait for something that just caused
when you tell me right now we're going to talk about waiting at all, I'm probably already a little frustrated on the inside because patience or waiting, like I don't want to wait. Like I don't even want to think about this. It's I don't know. I want to do things or produce things. Waiting or slowing down or like sitting still, that's challenging for me. I got to think about this like a specific time because I hate all of them. So
it's not. I don't think it is something that we do naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Patience, I believe, is something.
Is patience a struggle for you?
It is.
Yeah,
it is, and it
you
has
seem
been
like a patient person.
Yeah, don't let that fool you because over the past 2 months, I've had to be very patient on some things, and one of the things we've been talking about here has been the kidney stone, and waiting, number one to find out about what that was.
Kidney stone update. Do we have a latest update?
I haven't.
You said last week it was passed.
I haven't had any issues, so I'm thankful to be on the other side of that. So
here we go.
But yeah, once you find it out, then you're trying to get rid of the thing, and then since we started the podcast, not many people know this. Maybe you're one of the only one, or at least a few that know this. But since the podcast started, I'm in consulting for digital marketing, and part of that role means that you're signing new clients, and I haven't signed a new client in 2 months, and it kind of coincides
since
with
the podcast.
I'm blaming the
started.
podcast, but still, it's either coincidence or it's providence there, because I think maybe as I really take a look at it, and I've looked at, okay, well, what's changed?
Yeah.
I don't see any kind of smoking gun as far as, okay, well, I'm not doing that well, or
sure. But you're still doing your job well.
Still doing the job.
Of course.
I feel I'm doing that well. I'm still as attentive as I can be, and looking to consult as well as I have, and never had really a big issue with performance there. And so, but over the past 2 months, it's been a desert. It's been a drought,
man.
And what I'm thinking now is that maybe God's trying to teach me how to be patient and have peace during that time. And so we're talking about this today.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be helpful. I think it's going to be helpful for people out there who are also either waiting on something, whether that be medical test results, whether that be something related to their job, something for a family member, you name it. What are some other things that people wait for?
Well, you're making me think of different seasons I've gone through in waiting, because we have, maybe between the two of us, a little experience under our belt these days. I mean, I don't have as much experience as you, because you're a little older than I am. You're in AARP land, but job transitions come to mind for me. Sometimes you're waiting on a paycheck to come through, waiting on finances to come in, just to see results maybe in your health, physical health or mental health. You're waiting for, it could be as simple as you're waiting for it to be the end of the day, or get through a really hard week, or just anything that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other scenarios people have to wait on. I don't think we like to wait because it kind of makes us be dependent. Like if we take control and we can do something in 2 seconds, well, we don't have to wait. We're in the driver's seat. But in reality, we're not in the driver's seat. We're more in the back seat. But if you, like, even me saying that right now, I don't want to be in the back seat. Right. I want to be driving. So if I look at you too, I'm like, hey, in reality, you're in the back seat. It almost sounds like a demotion, so to speak. So I think there's something here on patience and that struggle and waiting that kind of goes in line with our dependence.
I think that's the key word there. As soon as you said that, Miles Finch saying yes.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes! You don't even have to say it. We'll just play it.
We'll just play it.
We got Miles Finch anytime. So
Yes!
right there all the time.
Because dependence, I don't think we are naturally geared for that. That is,
I don't think so, right? We're told to be independent.
Right.
We're told everything, at least in the West, although I do feel like it's kind of similar around the world, but I'm not an expert at this. But I do think we're raised to be independent.
I would say,
right?
Yeah, I would say that's what happened in the Garden of Eden there with that first sin had to do a lot with trying to break free, independence from God and His will, and from the perfect environment. And so I think that's just part of our sin nature too. We don't want to have to depend on anybody, anything. I think our natural inclination is always going to be, I want to be in that driver's seat, and I want to be able to know the timing of things. I want to be able to make decisions. As soon as I know that information, I want to move. I want to do.
Man, there's something so true about that. I was talking with someone the other day about like the free gift of salvation, and we were kind of breaking it down. Whether it's a birthday or a celebration, like we don't even. A lot of us don't even really like receiving a gift. Like the attention's on us. Like you just said, we don't want to rely on someone. So like when someone gives us a gift these days, I think we're almost immediately like, oh, let me pay you back. Like, or you do something special for them 2 weeks after that because you want to pay them back. But like, what if I want to give you a gift right now and like you cannot pay me back? I think there's something that almost immediately makes you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think.
But why is that? Why can't we just receive a gift? right?
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I would say that you don't want to be in somebody's debt. I would say that's part of it too, is that you don't want to have to rely on somebody or to say, okay, well, in order for me to get what I want, then they have to provide it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that'd be the same thing with patience for me. I don't want to rely on someone else's timing or schedule or priorities. Like I want to, I mean, at my worst, it sounds terrible, but I mean, I guess I want to control it, or I think I know better because it's my timing.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Some variant of that.
Yeah. But during the past couple months, I've kind of tapped into the Chosen series again.
It's a great show.
And I know, again, The Chosen is not, it's not the Bible. It's not the source, right? But it does have some really...
Can I go off on a tangent on The Chosen for a second? I just interrupted you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I will say this. You're right. It's not the Bible, but I like entertainment stuff, TV shows,
You're
acting,
a SAG card
all that stuff.
I'm
still an official SAG approved agents if you're listening. So just go to the IMDb. So there's a lot. I mean, we could have a whole lot, but there's a lot of Christian shows and movies that, okay, factually could be talking about the Bible and that can honor God. Let's just say that as a preface. Can I just throw that out there?
You just did, yeah.
But thank you. But the quality of the shows or the scripts or the acting are terrible. Like terrible. The worst. Like, I don't even understand.
No!
It's so they've been really bad. Let's just put it that way. They've been so bad that before I was a believer, I remember watching some of them and I actually thought that's kind of what Christianity was. And it was really cheesy. It actually really turned me off, like for real, to Christianity or the church, things like that. The Chosen is by no means perfect, but we are making strides. I really do think in like the quality of actual acting, performance, script. It's really, really good. It's worth your time. I would say to anyone, it's worth your time to give it a few episodes. And if you're like me and you're like, it's another Christian show, there's no way I'm going to watch it, I would give this one a shot. This is different than the other ones. I don't know if you agree with that.
I agree.
Sorry, I went
agree
off
wholeheartedly.
a little tangent there, but
I do. I don't think because you criticized some other Christian movies or shows, or even if you criticize any Christian music, I don't believe that means that you don't love God.
Yeah.
I think that it can be put under
it sounds funny saying it. I know. Thank you for saying that. It sounds funny saying it though, but some of them are bad.
Well, things have to be done with excellence, right?
Yes.
It's one of our core values here at 121. So
why not?
It's what we ascribe to. But in watching that show, well, there are two scenes that I would say that have happened or that I've watched in that series that they've made me tear up.
Yeah, they got you.
Yeah. The first one being when Jesus is basically he wakes up Matthew and he says, okay, I've landed on what I'm going to say during the Sermon on the Mount. And as he's describing, again, this is a spoiler alert here too. So those who've seen it, but
just turn it down.
But it is a very powerful scene. I think it's worth talking about.
Okay, never mind. Turn it back up.
Yeah, turn it back up.
Yeah.
So he basically is walking through the Beatitudes. And as he's walking through each Beatitude, there are scenes of the disciples and time that he's spent with them, things that he's seen about them. And so basically it's supporting what he's saying there. And it's a powerful scene. And it just shows Jesus's care and his concern for the disciples. And
like he's personalizing it.
Exactly.
I mean, because we don't know what was really going through his mind when he was saying it.
Right.
Which is why it's kind of cool. They took the liberties of, doesn't mean it's accurate. It could be. We don't know.
It's a beautiful picture of being
really
a shepherd
cool.
and of knowing your sheep.
Super thoughtful. Yeah.
So that's one scene there, but there's another one that's more related to what we're talking about today. And I believe it's from an episode called Sustenance. And basically the story, or how they're telling the story, is that it seems like Peter he's having a hard time. He and his wife are having a hard time conceiving, and so he is seeing the healing taking place that Jesus is doing for many others. And I guess he's getting to a point to where he's wondering, okay, well, what about me? What about my wife? What about us and what we're going through? And so you see him getting a little bit distant there, and that's happening throughout the whole episode. And it's, causing some hardship between him and the disciples. And then the powerful scene really comes when the disciples are in the boat out there on the sea, and then Jesus approaches, and they see and they think he's a ghost at first, but basically he's out there showing them his power. And Peter says, "Ask me to step out of the boat," and as he's stepping out of the boat, he starts to sink, and Jesus grabs him, rescues him. And Peter's just basically telling him, "Don't ever let me go." And that's again, I could think of it, and I get emotional thinking about it, because it's such a powerful scene of
super powerful.
Us and what we need, and what dependence looks like, and how desperate we should be, for Christ.
Man, no, why do you think he sunk when he was on the water?
Well, Jesus would tell him, his faith was lacking. During that time, he was taking his eyes off of Christ.
There's something powerful about, at least for me, like a grown man like that calling out, like the I mean, how much more of a dramatic example of dependency or strong, not dramatic, but like a strong example can we think of, whether it's a kid or a grown up? I mean, reaching his arm out and being like, don't let me go. Like that's powerful.
Yeah. And I can't say that I grew up with the experience of a dad, reaching his hand out and grabbing mine, and just the comfort that must have been. And, that's, a lot of people do have that experience of what that must feel like.
But a lot of people don't too. I mean, it's a good mix, right? Some people have it, some people don't. I mean, we can have it with Jesus, and not everyone necessarily knows that. Or even, as we follow him, we forget that maybe. And we maybe, like Peter, would take our eyes off of him and start sinking a little bit until we have some moment that he gives us to remind us, oh, okay. And you reach back out and go from there.
Right. But I have had friends, I've had coaches even. I've had those to where I understand, okay, what it's like to feel encouraged and loved, even as a result of them taking that time to just say, hey, we're here for you. And then of course I believe we'll always remember the moments where we have felt like Christ has stepped in and has lifted us up and has given us that that divine spiritual hug, that reminder that he's there and that he's not going to leave us, and that all we have to do is call on his name. So,
when Peter was struggling, kind of the way that episode showed it, or just biblically, when you think about that, what do you think he was learning through that struggle, and maybe even through the struggle of maybe being patient, in his wrestling with the Lord? Like, do you think he was learning something, or the Lord was doing something with him intentionally through the patience? Like, does anything come to mind for you?
I think so. Basically, what I believe Jesus was doing and what I read is that he was preparing him for what was to come. There are going to be tough times ahead, and you really do need to focus on me. I'm going to be the only thing that you're going to be able to depend on. And so preparing him for that. And I also see it in other examples too, and I know you do too, with John the Baptist. He basically got messages to Jesus. Are you the one that we have been expecting or not? Because he was waiting for some action. He was waiting for things to happen, and Jesus answered him with basically answered prophecy. And so that was very important, because what other man is greater than John, and even he had his doubts there.
I think of the disciples and just the people in general. How many people were waiting, like, Jesus, when are you going to take your spot on the throne and overthrow the Romans or write off the Pharisees, or just whatever, just waiting for this action. Even times when Jesus would withdraw and go pray, and the people closest to him would be like, where are you going? Or when he's in the boat, in another example, and he's taking a nap.
Why are you sleeping?
Sleeping. what a great example of our lack of patience. If I think we would do the exact same thing. We'd wake Jesus up today and be like, what are you, or are we napping? Or like, what are we, you know what I mean? We would totally struggle with that. So it makes me go, I guess in the midst of, maybe thinking God's not answering our prayers, or how long do we have to struggle with like a physical ailment or a mental ailment? We're talking about anxiety and other things like that.
Yeah.
And does it mean we're going to have it forever or not? And in the meantime, God, will you just deliver me or hear me, or are you there? Just that desperation kind of a feeling. It's very interesting to think, what are the things, because we know he is there, or at least I'll just say, I know he's with us. Even passages like the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit. Even in the middle of a crisis, he's just as present with us on those hard days as he is on maybe our easier or good days, whatever you want to call them. So he is present, very present help in times of trouble. But it is interesting how often we just get impatient.
Yeah, he's there no matter how we feel, right?
Yes.
So even if we feel like he's not listening to us, or even if we feel like our prayers are just being repetitive, that doesn't change who God is. He sometimes we might even view him as, he's too busy. He's over here doing something else.
Yeah.
I have to get his
busy.
attention.
He's too busy for me. He probably has other things on, other responsibilities he's doing. I don't want to bother him with my life, stuff like that. Yeah.
He just might need us to experience even that much more dependence on him. He might need it, to take 1 week into 2 weeks, sometimes into 8 weeks. And I'm not saying that what I've been through there, with the health and with the with the wealth. We're not talking Joel Osteen here, but we're but
we're going to be apologizing.
Yeah,
next week
Joel,
on.
Sorry, Joel. I'm not trying to say that compares to a lot of things that people are going through right now. There's certainly people that are going through some really hard, excruciating, tough situations,
sure.
And they're waiting. And we're not trying to make light of that at all.
Sure.
It's just that God is the same in those things as he is in the smaller things. So anything that you're going through, anything that's requiring patience, anything that is causing your spirit to be troubled, God cares.
Oh yeah. It's a big topic, because it does range from, like, he cares about the most trivial things we could think is trivial, by the way, versus, yes, maybe a crisis, and he cares about all of them. I've had, I can think of one moment, and I hope this is heard the right way. When I was dating, just like many, many, many single people, you're praying for, like, your spouse. You want a husband or you want a wife, and you just really have the desire. You have a desire for a family. Could be for kids. Could be for whatever. And I remember going through multiple dating seasons, and you're being patient, and you have some relationships and they don't work out, and you're just wrestling. And I just remember praying, and I'm not saying it's this easy. I just remember, though, finally, I think relinquishing control, in my opinion. That's how it felt. It felt like I was just obsessing over the timeline. When are things going to happen? When's it going to happen for me? And it was kind of putting my hands open and just praying to be like, God, okay, you know what? You'll provide or you won't provide for it. And it's going to be the best thing for me. Like, the results of what you have in mind are going to be the best thing for me, genuinely, whether or not I get married. And it was a hard prayer. I'm not saying it's easy. I think I was crying when I prayed it, because it felt like I was just giving over the desire. And again, I don't want it to sound like it's easy, because that's not. And I probably had to keep coming back to that prayer. And I did end up getting married, and that's awesome. And it would have been awesome if I didn't get married, right? Praise God for both situations. But I feel like I can recall multiple moments of these seasons of waiting where I had to, at some point, maybe it's repentance, I had to give over probably my closed fists wrapping around whatever the topic was, right? Like, or the timing, like relinquishing some type of control,
right,
and putting him back in charge and at the center as he should be. Maybe I was sinking. Maybe I was sinking in the water, and I needed to look at him and put my arms out for him to grab me, and that was the best place for me.
I think that's really it. Is that anything that becomes more important or that we place more importance on, then God doesn't have time for rivalry, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a hard, and I think we talked about this earlier. It's a hard word because that would be defined as an idol, but we do not call those idols, right? And I get it. I don't call them idols in my regular day-to-day language, but I mean, an idol is defined as anything taking the place of God. So chances are, I can only speak for me, throughout the day today, I've probably had a handful of things that as the day has progressed, I kind of made an idol. In fact, I know I did. Some of it was my schedule and my tasks earlier today. I got a little bent out of shape that they got a little out of whack. And it was just my timing. But in that moment, my out of whack schedule was dictating my behavior. That's a hard pill to swallow. That's an idol.
No, and I could raise my hand on that too and say that affects me the same. And, we start the morning, and if we're spending time with God in the morning, I know what we're prone to want to say or maybe even do say is that, let this day be yours and, do whatever your will is here. And then as soon as it gets to our schedule, we're like, no, but not that.
We pray
this
that
has to happen this
then we
way.
get in the car and we hit a little traffic on the way and it's like, okay, well, you know what? This is all out the window now, kind of a thing. Yep.
I'll start again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's beauty to be found. It's so hard. There's beauty to be found in the patience. There's something about the Lord moving slowly, talking slowly, developing our character, developing a lot of things. And like in the moments I've had to be patient, I think a lot of things have been rooted out of me in the process. I feel like more in those times than other moments. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It's from God. It is one of the, it's a fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Patience and the peace that He wants us to have, right?
Yeah.
Even in the middle of the things that aren't going well, He still wants us to have peace. And I believe the two are related.
Just all kind of tie together as part of the fruit of the Spirit. Yeah.
And though it's not listed as a fruit of the Spirit, let's just throw another P in there, perseverance, right?
Yeah.
So this helps to build that perseverance when we're actually practicing those two. There's a lot of P's. Wow. There's a lot of P's. So many P's.
There's a lot of P's.
Alliteration going crazy.
A lot of
here.
P's.
Yeah. But all those help to produce character, I would say. And that character, what does that produce?
Is it godliness after that? What's that progression? Do you know that off the top of your head? It's okay if you don't.
Yeah.
Perseverance produces character, is it steadfastness, and steadfastness producing godliness? Oh,
I think there's hope in there as well. So
some of my biblical friends are going to correct us. We'll be apologizing to the Bible.
Joel Osteen to apologize to. We have biblical scholars, and then who else are we on?
I don't know. The list is growing. We're making a lot of enemies with the podcast. No, it's perseverance. Character. There's honestly different translations. You're going to look it up.
I'm going to look it up. I think it's worth it. It's scripture.
I'm pretty sure all the words we're saying are in there. Maybe different orders. We got perseverance, character, hope, steadfastness, godliness.
You're talking about the fruit of the Spirit, right?
What are you talking about?
I was talking about.
I'm talking about perseverance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the ticket.
Sometimes we sometimes we have a little dead air while we're looking at each other, kind of laughing, and while Chris is playing with his phone because he's playing a game right now. Thanks for playing Minesweeper on your phone. But you know what? This is a real podcast, and sometimes we're not going to cut out moments like this. No. I'm buying you time right now and talking right now. I'm just look at this. You're still on the phone. You're not going to say anything.
We're going to get this right. We're going to actually.
What is it?
I can't find it yet. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Is it not only so, but we're also glory in our sufferings because we know suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope.
That's it.
Some would say it's Romans 5:3-4, the NIV.
That is what I was looking for.
Okay. Just let you know. Yeah, here it is. So no, you're right. So, and those things are, I guess, the opposite. I guess impatient. Just to kind of riddle that for a second. I guess would produce, well, you don't learn how to persevere because you're impatient now, instant gratification. You want like now. And I guess when you're not getting it, your hope is lost. You have nothing to look forward to because you're not forward thinking at all. You're just thinking about the present
Exactly.
and what you have or do not have.
It doesn't build any muscles there.
And then I guess you're not really developing your character because you're just, and really in those moments, kind of making it about.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
this is hard.
What you want, right?
I'm saying this more to myself than anyone else, but you're making it about you, right? Like it's your selfishness, your timing, your priorities are off.
And you kind of put yourself in place that you're the most important, right? You need to get what it is that you want at the time that you want it.
So how have you gotten better? I'm thinking about this, how to apply this for me and you and those listening, like as we end this, because it's always good. It's just like, what's the takeaway? Because if we don't have a takeaway, if we're not taking a next step, and we've talked about this, the whole point of this podcast is hopefully to mutually encourage each other. We're not always going to be there, but if we're taking a step, that's all we can really do. So like how have you either grown in patience, or what are you thinking about to help grow in your patience?
Yeah, well, the greatest gift over this time, I would say, is more time with God, because it has made me want to spend more time with Him. It has made me want to speak to Him, even audibly. My wife and my daughter, they had a chance to go on a mother and daughter trip to Disney World with my daughter's dance company, and that gave me time at home. And usually, I would say that.
Did you lay around on the couch and eat like a block of cheese with swim trunks on and
just watch TV?
Yeah.
No, not this time.
Oh,
no.
It wasn't the summer of Chris?
It wasn't the summer of Chris this time. No, it was actually keeping the TV off and spending more time in the Word. And I'm not saying this as, look at me. It was just needed. It was one of those things where I felt like this time was allowed for this. It was time to spend asking God questions, asking God to maybe break me out of any kind of cycle there of not depending on Him, and having just unfiltered time with Him. And it was wonderful.
Were you actually talking audibly?
There were times where I was.
That genuinely helps me. I know it sounds, I think when I first became a believer, I thought I'd be a crazy person. But when I'm praying and talking, there's something about hearing it outside of my head that makes it more, I think, more real to me. I feel like I'm actually conversing because I'm talking audibly. Like I'll do that in the car a lot. I'm sure people driving by are like, what is this guy? I guess they're thinking I'm talking on the phone. But when I pray audibly at home too, like it really makes a difference for me.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm the same way too.
Yeah.
Is that person looking over at me if I'm talking on the car? But pretty soon you just don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care. You're talking.
Now, for the record, if it's the summer of Mike, I'm not eating a block. I just want to make sure everyone knows my idea of that. If Joelle and the kids go out of town, I'm not eating cheese on the couch, like with my shirt off. That's not what I'm.
Not even puffy Cheetos?
No, crunchy. Come on, we talked about this. Yeah, not a lazy guy.
All right.
But I mean, I'm not. That was just an idea. I thought maybe you would enjoy that.
I enjoy that illustration here, but I know what it's like to waste time. I know what it's like to use that time for me, hey, I'm gonna, watch what I want to watch and turn on the sports and just
eat
kind of
what I want to
out, eat what I want to eat, and
cheese.
So yeah, but never satisfying, right?
Like when you eat a bunch of cheese,
just
or when you're
never satisfying time. when you didn't spend time wisely to.
I love right now how much you're pushing through and talking about the meaningful substance. And whatever reason, I'm wanting to be the kid that keeps taking it to cheese, and you're
wanting to be cheese. I keep punching holes in it.
I don't know why this is happening, but yeah, you are pushing through so well.
I'm punching holes in your cheese illustration like Swiss.
You are Swissing up that cheese. Oh, so good. That's good. So,
yeah, takeaways.
Yeah.
Several of them, I would say. One of them being that God is going to come through.
Yeah.
His character is not going to change it.
That's true.
There is hope.
Yes.
We do have that.
Yeah, he is unchanging. He comes through. 1,000% success rate has come through every single time.
For eternity.
for eternity. It has happened. It will always happen.
Yeah.
That's such a powerful reminder. May not be the result we're thinking, but he comes through in the way that's better every single time, no matter what we're going through.
Hands down.
Yes.
Hands down. And then just a new appreciation for fasting and prayer.
Yeah.
Asking for that next step, expecting that next step, and then being obedient to that next step too, that he reveals. That's what we're part of the reason why we titled this Not Quite There is because that's what we're talking about, is just taking that next step forward wherever you're at.
Yeah. Even if that means more patience, right? Even if that,
maybe a step back to take a bigger step forward by being patient. So that's another takeaway there. And then we need to invite others into. I would say that over that time, even with you, I've called you and I've let you know, hey, this is a pretty tough stretch right now.
Yeah.
And you being the good, faithful friend that you are, really speaking life into the situation and sharing scripture and reminding me about God and offering the perspective that he gives you. So that's rich.
Yeah.
Having that community around you, being able to share, being able to open up about your struggles too. That just, it puts the focus off of you and onto God when you have a community of people that love God, that know that they're loved by God, and then love each other as a result of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only thing I would add to that is, like you're saying, on being honest, as you're talking to community and obviously not being isolated, and starting that or ending that with being honest with God himself. Like he already knows what we're thinking. He knows exactly what you're struggling with. He knows you and I more than we know ourselves. And so it's funny though, sometimes we hold back, like, well, I don't want to say all that to God, and fill in whatever the reason is, but he knows. So it's so much more freeing by just going, okay, God, I don't want to be patient. Like maybe your prayer is like, God, you're frustrating me with this patience thing, and I don't want to be patient. So I'm not talking to you for 5 minutes, and I'm going to like cross my arms and be all upset. But you're at least saying something and showing some honest feelings with that verse. When we are more honest in our prayers with the Lord himself, I think it helps lead us then to be more honest with others. And then there's confession that takes place. And the Bible says there's healing with confession. And what do you know? We probably take a deep breath and we grow a little bit more in our patience. You know what I mean? But it starts with that honesty, holding it in. It's not doing us any good, even though we're tempted to think we should hold it in and we will, quote, get over it. But I mean, the sooner we're honest, I think the sooner there's healing with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know. The big reminder for me here, and hopefully for you listening out there, and hopefully for you, Mike, is that there's nothing impossible for God.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
And he has a great thing. He is a father who likes to give good gifts to his children.
Yeah.
And we just don't know what those are going to be at times. And as children, we don't have to know.
Yeah.
Some of the best surprises we have as children is when
we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But we do serve an amazing God. He loves us.
Yeah.
And if you're having a hard time waiting, just don't wait alone. He can do anything.
Yeah. It's a good word. He can do anything. He's beyond the impossible. He can even make something like soccer enjoyable for all of us during 90 minutes.
We're sorry, soccer. We're going to have to apologize to you.
We're apologizing ahead of time, soccer.
Thanks so much for joining us. Please consider rating and reviewing our podcast and hitting subscribe on whichever platform you prefer. Remember to keep moving forward because we're not quite there.